All right. Good day, students. Um, Today we will look at construction of parallel lines. Previously, we looked at how to divide straight lines into several equal parts, as well as into a given ratio. All right. So we move on from that, and we look at construction of parallel lines. Now, unknowingly, using the previous construction, you would have constructed or you would have obtained parallel lines by the means of sliding, right? Where we use the set square and the other ruler. So obtaining these lines, that is one way, or by sliding is one way in which we obtain parallel lines, right? So that is one method there already by sliding. All right, so I wouldn't go through that again with you. As we go along in various topics and so on, you will have to continue using that method, all right? So that is one way in which we obtain parallel lines. Now, in obtaining those lines, the problem comes about if you don't have a point where you're drawing the line from, right? Yes, you can obtain the parallel lines, but they may not be equally spaced, right? Some of them might be wider than others. So if we don't have these divisions, as you can see here, or if we don't have any additional point to show us where to stop, then we will obtain parallel lines, but they may not be equally spaced. All right, so that is one problem when we are sliding. So to rectify that issue, we have another method that I will demonstrate to you that would allow us to obtain parallel lines to a specified distance apart. All right, and as you can see, we want to have four lines, four parallel lines, and each one of them must be 12 mm apart. All right, I did not indicate which line we'll be using, whether it's a horizontal, a vertical, an oblique line. I did not specify, but normally we start with a horizontal line. So what I want you to do, step number one, is to draw that horizontal line. All right. Good. So the first thing you do is draw that line. So we draw that line to any length. Now remember, no length was given, right? No length for the line was given. So we just use any length. All right. So based on your preference. Good. Now, seeing that we are drawing this these parallel lines 12 mm apart, then we would need to use a pair of compasses, and we open that pair of compasses to 12 mm. Now, when I say open to 12 mm, it means that you place the pencil point at zero, and sorry, the compasses point at zero, and you open the pencil point to 12. All right, so 12 mm is the same as 1 cm plus 2 mm. Right, so from 1, you count 2 of the small markings. That would give you mm. That would give you 12 mm. All right, so you open your compasses to that length. Now, when you finish there, you place the compass point anywhere on the line. Now, preferably, you would want to be more towards the end of the line. Right, you can place it somewhere closer to the middle, but preferably place it closer to the end of the line. Now, when you're there, you mark or you draw a semicircle. And it doesn't have to be a complete semicircle, right? It just has to be an arc. But for now, just for your general understanding, right, you can draw an entire semicircle. All right, move on. With the same measurement, you go closer to the other end of the line and you draw another. Right, remember we're using the same 12 mm. Good. So from there now, you take the ruler and you place it to the edge of those two semicircles. And when you finish, you draw a line to touch those two semicircles. All right, you draw a line to touch those two semicircles. So there we obtain two lines that are equally spaced. They're 12 mm apart, right? And the question or the instruction says that we should get 4 lines. So what we do, we continue marking those semicircles. So you come from the second line and you mark another semicircle. And you go from the other side and you do the same. And nothing is wrong if the semicircle goes beyond the line, right? Nothing is wrong if that happens, but you know, just to keep it a bit uniform, you try to do it from on the line. Now, when you finish that, you draw the third line again, and the third line must touch the semicircle. All right, and please note, I'm saying it must touch, but it should not cut the semicircle, right? It must only touch the semicircle. So there we have 3 of them, and we simply go to the third one, and we continue the same. All right, we continue the same. Good. And then we simply go again. We get our ruler and we draw the line to touch the 2 semicircles. All right, to touch the 2 semicircles. Good. So that is all we have to do in order to obtain these parallel lines, right? They are the same distance apart, each one of them, 12 mm apart, and they go in the same direction, they go side by side, and they never meet at a point, no matter how long you draw them, right? So that's one way in obtaining parallel lines when you're given a specified distance apart, all right? Now, if we were using the sliding method, then it would have been difficult to obtain these lines at an equal distance apart, right? Because we don't have any marking here for us to stop when we're sliding. So this here is the most suitable method when you have a specified distance apart, right? Now the same steps apply when you are working with any other line, right? So you do the same, you come from one end or closer to the end of the line and you mark the semicircle. Now, please note that you don't have to get a complete semicircle. This arc that I have here is good enough. So you do the same at the other end, right? Remember I said you don't have to get the entire arc, sorry, the entire semicircle, right? One circle, one arc rather, is good enough, right? So you do that and you draw your line, right? Similar to what we did just now. All right, and even though you are not given measurements for the lines, the length of the line, try to keep them as equal as possible, right? They don't have to be exactly the same, but just for uniformity's sake, try to get them as equal as possible, because you don't want one line being that length and then you have another one like this and another one, you know, like that and so on. Try to get them to the same length so they would look uniformed. All right. Now, another method that can help you, or another approach, is that when you are drawing the first line and you want to scribe an arc for the first one, what you can do is draw an entire circle like that. And you do the same at the other end. So what this gives you is 2 options, right? You can draw a line from on top. I'll just draw it without the ruler. You can draw a line on top here. That is not too accurate. All right, something like that. And you can draw one at the bottom also. So instead of having to do separate arcs and so on, you can just draw a circle, and there you get 3 of them right away, right? And then from there, if you are asked to do 5, then you continue with your arcs or your semicircles Right, so there you have options, and you do the same, you continue doing the same, and so on. Right, so your choice if you want to use the entire circle or you just want to use separate arcs when you are beginning. All right, so that basically that's how you construct parallel lines. Right, for oblique line, the steps are the same. You draw the line, you mark off your arcs. Right, this is just a sketch, and you draw a line to touch the top of the two. Right, you continue doing that until you get the required amount, if it's 10 or 15 or how much ever. All right, so that is how that construction is done. All right, for your homework, here it is, your homework and your assignment. It's here, so ensure that you complete them. And that video will help you to complete all of these. All right, the amount of lines are given, 5 and 4 and so on. The distance apart is also given, so please observe those distances. All right, good. Moving on to the next construction of perpendicular lines. Now we know that perpendicular lines are 90 degrees to each other, right? So if we have a horizontal line, the perpendicular line would be a vertical line, right? And both of them must touch each other and they must form a 90-degree angle or a right angle. All right, so in doing that, the first thing we do is draw a line. Now, the next thing we do is take our pair of compasses and we place it at any point on this line. Now, you might be given an instruction whether to draw it from the end of the line or the middle of the line or any point on the line, right? As a matter of fact, for the assignment and homework, I specified which point to draw from, right? So what you do is place the compass point at that point that you have to draw it from, and you simply draw a semicircle or an arc. All right, now when you do that, you come from one end of the semicircle and you open to the other. All right, and good. So you scribe the arc on top using that measurement. Then you switch it around, you go from the other end. And you intersect. All right, so now we take our ruler and we draw a line straight through that intersection to the horizontal line. All right, and that would give you your perpendicular line. Now, what I forgot to mention is that the topic states construction of perpendicular line from a point on the line, right? So we are drawing it from a point on the line, right? That is why I told you to place the compass point on the line and then draw the semicircle or the arc. All right, because the next construction is where we will construct a perpendicular line from a point off the line. All right, so this one is slightly different. Good, so that is how you do it when you are working with a horizontal line. If you are starting with a vertical line, you draw the line as usual. Then again, you go take the pair of compasses, you place it on any point of the line or wherever you're asked to draw it from, and you scribe an arc. Now, please note, you can do it on this side, or you can do it on the other side, which is here, right? Any side, left-hand side, right-hand side, any side. Good. Then you go from one end, open the pencil point to the other, and you scribe an arc away to the right-hand side. Then you come from the next point, which is here, and you scribe another arc to intersect that one. All right, then you take your ruler and you draw a line to show the perpendicular connection. Right, so there we have two lines perpendicular to each other. All right, the same is done for an oblique line. If you're starting with an oblique line, you draw your arc. Probably, let's say we do it at the bottom here. Then you draw the other two, and then you extend, right? So it's the same, the steps are the same. Right, in terms of labeling, of course, we know we have to label, right? This side must be A, this here is B. We can label this part C, D. We can label the center O, and we can label the intersection probably X or something, or some other letter, right? It's labeling is up to you, whatever letter you want to choose, but just ensure that you label and do so neatly. All right. Now, just to show you a slight variation, this can be done from the end of the line. So if you're asked to draw the perpendicular line from the end, then you simply, of course, you draw your arc, and then you have to, navigate your instruments in order to get the 90-degree part. But don't focus on this as yet. We'll do that when we're constructing angles, right? 90-degree angles and so on. So just focus on what we did so far and get your homework and your assignment completed. All right, so I place the points. Please do not put these points on your drawings. I just put that there for demonstration as well as to indicate where you should draw your perpendicular line from, right? Because I know some persons would put a big ugly looking dot on their drawing and just, would make it look terrible. So please do not put those dots. Good, moving on. The next construction now is from a point off of the line. So again, step one, we draw the line. All right, and please note, I draw it without the ruler because by now everybody's supposed to know how to draw a line. Good. Step two, we simply place our compass point. As a matter of fact, we need to indicate a point away from the line. We need to indicate a point away from the line. Yes, I am back. Sorry about that. So after you draw the line, you indicate a point somewhere above the line, or as the topic says, off of the line, right? So when you indicate that point, you place the compass point there, right? Let's say you label that point probably O or something, or yeah, you label that point O. So you place the compass point at O, and now what you have to do is open the pencil point beyond the line, so that when you scribe an arc, it cuts two parts of the line, right? It cuts two parts. I don't want you to open it so large that, it would miss the line. As you can see, you open it enough so that it would cut the line at two different points. So That is one point, and that is another. So the 2 points, let's say we label them as B, not B, C, and D. Right? Those are the 2 points. Good. Now, when you finish with that, you place the compass point now at C or D. Let's start with C first. You open the length to beyond D. All right, beyond D, and you scribe an arc on top. Well, as you can see, that is too long. So, all right, let's just use that length. So you scribe the arc above. Then you go to D with the same length. You go to D, and you intersect that arc. Remember, it's all about intersecting so that we can find various points. So you intersect that arc, and now you take your ruler and you draw a line to cut that intersection, as well as pass through that point and touch the line. And that will give you a perpendicular line, right? But in this case, it was drawn from a point off the line. All right, now that is for a horizontal line. The same applies for a vertical line. You draw the line, you mark a point outside of the line, probably on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, it doesn't matter. Let's say we draw it on the right-hand side. You take the pair of compasses and you place it exactly at that point. And you open it enough so that it intersects the line at 2 points, right? 1 and 2. Right, that one is a bit large. So what you do now, you go from one end of the intersection, you can open to either beyond the intersection or before, right? So normally we use beyond. So from there, you draw an arc, and then you switch it around, you come from the other side with the same measurement, and you intersect. All right, now from there, you take your ruler and you draw a line to pass through the intersection as well as the point. All right, and then that would give you your perpendicular line. All right, the same applies for oblique lines. You simply draw a line, mark the point, scribe your arc to cut 2 points on the line. Then you go from one end, open to the other, scribe an arc, then you interchange, scribe another, and you draw a line through. Right? Of course, it would not look that untidy, but generally that's how it's done. All right, so your assignment is here. All right, your assignment is here. Please note that the lines were drawn. The first one is a horizontal line, the point is above. The second one is a vertical line, the point is on the left-hand side, that's just above the two. The third one is a oblique line, the point is at the bottom here, right? So you would choose a distance, how far you want it to be from the line. Right, and the same you apply for these assignment. All right, vertical line, the point is on the right-hand side. Horizontal line, the point is at the bottom. And the oblique line, which is here, the point is on the left side bottom. All right, so that is your homework and your assignment. Kindly complete them and ensure that they are done neatly. All right, so that's it. And goodbye.